what could be considered a surprising move, Padres general manager A.J. Preller has hired Andy Green as the new manager of the team. Now, some of you might be asking, who is Andy Green? Well, he's 38 years old. He played parts of 4 seasons as an infielder in the majors. He then went on to manage at the minor league level in Arizona's farm system for 4 seasons before spending his first season on a big league staff. Last year with the Arizona Diamondbacks, he was the third base coach. The Padres passed over some veteran managers for this position, one of them being Ron Gardenhire, who was interested in this job. A.J. Preller wanted a breath of fresh air. He wanted someone who would bring some new life into the clubhouse, who would be open to new ideas and feedback from other places, and that's something that Green said that he's all about. I will say, having watched Andy Green in the press conference, that he comes across very likable, very motivational, genuine, seems to really care about the players and about creating a culture that is very positive, optimistic, and also is a winning culture. Of course, the Padres finished 4th in the NL West last season, and they'd like to turn that around too. Here's Green with more on becoming the new manager of the Padres.
Obviously, I am beyond thrilled to be sitting in this seat right now. To have the opportunity to manage the San Diego Padres going forward, to work with our staff, to lead this organization to a place we all want to get, a team that we celebrate at the end of the year. That's where my heartbeat is. That's where my passion is. I'm proud to be here. And I think as I went through this process, AJ alluded to the fact that I didn't know anybody really in this organization, no real tight ties. So when the process started 2.5 weeks ago, it was a get to know you. And I was immediately impressed with the process because AJ brought in everybody from baseball ops to talk to us. And then you go further through the process and you get to sit down with ownership and Ron and Peter, and people aren't privileged enough to have the opportunity to meet men like that, whose passion like literally drips from their lips as they talk about having this city experience their first ever world championship in any sport. They are fully committed to giving us everything we possibly can have to overcome all the obstacles that stand in our way. And I walked out of the meeting with them as ownership and thought, wow, what else could be more perfect than 2 people like that and an ownership group like that that is fully committed to our organization being the absolute best it can be. I've heard tremendous things about so many people that are on our staff right now. I want to get to know them. I want to see if they share the same vision. I'm not a territorial guy. I want ideas from everywhere. I welcome them from outside the coaching staff and inside the coaching staff. Whatever we can do to be the absolute best we can be, that's what we're going to be committed to doing as a Padre organization. And I want people that share that same heartbeat, that have no ego, or they're humbly serving the players and giving them the best opportunity to succeed, working their tails off. We're going to work. We're going to work as a staff. We're going to work. We're going to work as our players. I mean, you go back and quote John Wooden, where he said, "Nothing will work unless you do," and we're going to work. But we're going to do it with some joy and anticipation that good things are ahead for us. And we need to really believe as an organization that our tomorrow is brighter than our today, and we got good things coming our way if we commit ourselves to a process and stay committed to that process. I want to see a team that's better on April 1st than it was on February 15th. I think for the veterans, you have to give them a measure of ownership over the team. All of them, when they started their career, had this vision of individual success and collective success. Everybody wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think what you have to do as a leader is not come in with a dictatorial approach and tell everybody how it's going to be and we're going to do it this way or that way. You have to give them a measure of ownership over the clubhouse culture, because what truly exists inside of players are really good things. And you have to allow those attributes to take shape. You don't control clubhouse culture as a manager. You help create it, and you entrust it to the players to guard it, to control it, to move it forward based on the collective vision you all have. I wouldn't be able to connect with anybody if I came in immediately and called up all these guys and said, this is the way it's going to be. They have to be given ownership. And I think people typically respond when you give them a measure of buy-in and let them take ownership. And from what I hear about the character of people here, I hear tremendous things. So I'm excited about like literally putting it in their hands and trusting it to them and not trying to control it and trying to liberate them to envision what this team could be. I've heard a number of tremendous things about the character of people that are on this staff, about their desire to see this ratchet up a level and be more successful than it was this last year. I think there's tremendous attributes here that you want in a coaching staff. I think the process is also putting the ball in their court. Do you want to be a part of what we're doing going forward? Is it important to you to, have collaborative say and us sit around and talk about what are we going to do to get better? It's not going to be business as usual in the sense like, hey, we're just going to show up, we're just going to punch the clock, we're going to hit a few fungos. We're going to do everything we possibly can think of and things that the front office can think of to be the best we can be. And if that doesn't resonate, then I don't think this is probably the place for some of them. But what I hear about most of them is they want to be a part of that. You know, my age is what it is. It's none of those things I can't change. And I think it does bring an easy way to connect with guys because you're a little bit closer to remembering what it felt like to punch out a lot, and I understood that very well. I mean, a Mendoza line hitter. I went 1 for 4 in New York to get to 200, so that was a huge deal for me to be a 200 hitter. And you know, I know what it feels like. I think players, you know, they don't want you to baby them, and there's times you got to look them in the face and challenge them. But I think people want to measure empathy in their manager. They want somebody that can relate to the difficulty of the task they're being asked to do. I was able to play in the big leagues, so I was able to empathize with struggle, and I want guys to embrace the struggle, and that's kind of the way I've looked at it in my life. I hope in 10 years I've got more wisdom and I'm better at this job than I am today, and I hope in 20 years I'm better than I am today, and you know, that'll take time, and experience is a wonderful thing, but like I said a second ago, my path is what my path is. I'm thankful for my path, and I think at 38 I'm ready to do whatever I can to serve these guys, to put them in a position to succeed.